Well, I'm William Ryan III with 20 The Countdown magazine, and we are here with Darren Mulligan from We Are Messengers. And we're excited to catch up with him before his show here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So thanks for having us in here to chat with you a little bit.
Yeah, welcome to dressing room number 2.
This is the nicest
This is
place.
the nicest dressing room.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
We have dressing room number 1, and it's just like it's like something out of The Office.
Oh boy, Yeah.
This is the good room, and this is for my Australian friend.
This is from
Tasker.
yeah. This is good. We got the cream of the crop here. So man, got the sofa and all going on. So, but yeah. Well, I wanted to start off just by asking you just about your testimony, because I sense something just when I hear you speak, and even just the lyrics of your songs and just the way you articulate things. I feel like there's just such a depth, in your spiritual walk with the Lord. I feel like you are just so like in tune, and I feel like you've just really been walking with Him and through a lot of seasons, situations, and stuff. And so I can just tell there's something there. And so I'm just curious, like, how did you come to faith, and at what point did that happen in life? And just fill us in on all this.
That's a lot, mate. I came to Jesus about 17 years ago. It was my fiance at the time who had a radical conversion to faith, whereby God changed so much in her life that without a miracle couldn't be changed. And I saw just this shift towards hope and joy in her life that was really attractive to me. And at the time I was an atheist and a drunk and a promiscuous man. And I came to Jesus in a little church in Monaghan in Ireland, my hometown. And I still go to that little church every Sunday when I'm not on the road, help serve there. And all because of the faithfulness of one woman sharing the gospel with me. I get to sit with 3 generations of Mulligans. She led my little brother to Jesus a year after me. He now is a deacon in our church. He led my older sister to Jesus a couple of years ago. She led her son to Jesus. And then a few months ago, we got to baptize my mother and father at 76 years old in our home church in Monaghan. And so I could go into the intricacy of my testimony, but it isn't special. I know this. I hope my kids don't have my story.
Yeah.
I think it is a much more miraculous thing for someone to be born into a family of faith and to remain in faith. I think it is a harder thing to stay walking with Jesus when you see the hypocrisy of your parents. Mm-hmm. So my kids are blessed to have a mom and dad who walk with Jesus, but they have the struggle of putting those differences together. You have a dad who sings about Jesus, who talks about Jesus, who tries to love people like Jesus, and then you have a dad who can be impatient, or can be quick to anger, or can be frustrated, or and the beautiful thing we have in our story with Jesus is that we don't hide things from our kids. We talk to them, we tell them this is who we are. Don't confuse us with Jesus. We're doing the best we can, and so are you. And people maybe listening, it is a heavy thing to try and get all of this right every day.
Right.
I just say, go easy on yourself. This is a walk with Jesus. And I've only learned how to walk with him in the last 4 years. And because of that, I don't carry these heavy burdens of trying to live up to people's expectations or the expectations I think God has for me. I just try to go for a walk with him every day, and sometimes that's just reading the scriptures. A lot of days that's repenting. Some days, like the other day, I was sitting brushing my teeth in a hotel, standing. That would be weird sitting.
Yeah.
That means I'd be sitting on the toilet.
Yeah, right.
You want to get that image in your mind.
That's a visual. No.
Your favourite Christian artist sitting in the toilet brushing his teeth.
Right.
No, I was standing brushing my teeth, and all I could say through my toothpaste, it was in Franklin, Tennessee, was Lord of mercy on a sinner like me. So my testimony is I was a dead man. Christ pulled me out of a grave I didn't want to leave. And I have tried to crawl back into my grave many times. Salvation belongs to the Lord, not to Darren Mulligan. My band is not the hope of the world. The local church is the hope of the world, and Christ is the head of the local church. My story is that somehow God has dragged a man like me from the dead and used me to be the soundtrack to some people's lives as they go for a walk with Jesus. Nothing more, nothing less,
I love that, yeah. Would you say, you mentioned in the last 4 years that it's looked a little different. Is that just, has there been someone in your life that maybe discipled you, or what did that process look
like? I've always had people who've discipled me, people who called me out on my BS, people who just, refuse to let me be as I want to be. You know, we live in a culture, especially American Western culture, where everyone says you can be whatever you want to be. That is a heinous, dangerous thing to say to a man or a woman. And we're seeing the fruit of that in culture now. You have a bunch of people saying right now, do you know what, I'm going to be what I want to be.
Right.
And then we all in Christian circles go, oh, you can't do that. We've told them that.
Right.
Since they were children, be whatever you want to be. Mm-hmm. I say no. I say be who Jesus has called you to be. Be disciplined and obedient. Be joyful, be filled with laughter and hope. Don't take yourself too serious. Remember that living with Jesus is washing feet.
Right.
So wash feet in whatever way you're called. You're called to do it with 20 the countdown, right? You're called to do it in your home. I'm called to do it on stage. I have to remember that when I'm singing songs and all these people are singing songs, I'm washing their feet.
Wow.
That's it, dude.
That's it.
And the problem is sometimes when you make a little bit of money or you have a little bit of success, you think people are coming out to wash your feet.
Right.
To hell with that.
Right. That is not
I am here to wash the feet of the audience God has given us. They are the treasure in the field that we have purchased by giving away our children's birthdays and our wives' anniversaries and our first and last days at school and our Sunday mornings with our families and our friends. This thing has cost us more than people will ever know. But my goodness, 4 years of waking up without the loneliness haunting me. 4 years of God teaching me how to say no to the devil in the dead of night. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Dude, I woke up the other day in a hotel somewhere, just so clear-minded, so free of all the junk and all the baggage and all the... Yeah, he's faithful to do what he said he was going to do. That's my story, part of it.
Wow.
It's better now than it was then.
Yeah.
Do you know sometimes you look at your life and you go, Jesus, I think I'm still the same piece of garbage I was when you found me. But I think we've been really unkind to ourselves. I think if you look at yourself all these years on, you will look back and you go, oh, I've come quite a long way.
Yeah.
Do you know? Where I don't have to feign smiling or feign laughter or feign excitement, and I can just be as I am in his presence.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely enough for me. I am a content man. I am blessed. I'm grateful. I haven't always been. But it is a good way to live. And I will not insult people by not loving them enough to call them out of their BS too.
Right. Yeah.
But do it with kindness and hopefulness and encouragement. Yeah.
And it reminds me too, just you're never quite just there. You've never arrived. You never finished. You're always taking steps, and it's just, and even if you're hard on yourself and you think you're still the same that you were, I mean, you should be able to look back and see the steps that you've taken.
100%.
Yeah.
And I see it in everyone. I don't know. I think when you've been forgiven of as much as I have, it's very easy to look at everybody and go, they're not hopeless.
Right.
That's someone Jesus can take. I was praying with Leanna this morning in a coffee shop for a person in our industry. Sometimes can be, have a tough time. And I was just filled with great hope for them, that God is taking them somewhere new and restoring and showing them how to be loved. I think we have to get over this idea that some people are too far gone or are too dirty.
Yeah.
Because that was me. That is me some mornings. That's how I feel. But still the mercy of God is new. Still the kindness of God pursues me. And usually through the kindness of people. My story is one of saying sorry when I'm wrong, asking for forgiveness, and waking up and going again, because I'm no sissy, and I'm going to work even when it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
To take care of my family, my crew, my team, my band, the people around us, and more importantly, to take care of the calling of God on my life. And remember this, that your sin doesn't disqualify you from doing the things that God has called you to, because your goodness didn't qualify you in the first place.
Right.
Therefore, your sin cannot disqualify you.
It's a good reminder, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So we press on.
Yeah, you keep moving forward, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of too far gone, too, I know that's, I'm sure people hearing this right now are thinking like, I have a person that's too far gone. I have a kid that's a prodigal. I have a parent in Grace that maybe they're older. Like, are they going to come to faith? Like, and people are praying for those people that God's laying on their heart. Even just with the situation that happened with your parents. I mean, 17 years, after you got saved, like. Tell us about that. Tell us, like, what was that like, and the journey along, just, again, believing for it, knowing that eventually this is hopefully going to happen, and they're going to take that step. But then when it happened, like, fill us in on that and that process. And encourage people that may be hearing this thinking too far gone.
Yeah, I mean, I still have people in my family that don't know Jesus, that don't want to know Jesus. And I think early days when you come to Jesus, you have such a vigor and a passion, and you're like praying nonstop for everyone, and you're like fiending for telling people about Jesus, and that goes away. It just goes away, right? It changes, becomes a different thing, and then you realize that it is not my job to save people. It's just not my job.
Takes a load off, doesn't it?
Takes a load off.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, well, if I live in a way that looks more like Jesus, at least I won't make Jesus look bad.
Right.
So a lot of my walk is trying not to make Jesus look any worse than I have already made him look, right? Paul, I think it's Paul, could be Peter, I think it's Paul, talks about, convincing people, right? Biblical literacy is so important. If you do not have biblical literacy in your life, you will believe all kinds of strange ideas about what your role in salvation is.
Yeah.
Right?
We have nothing to compare it to, or nothing to
we have
no filter to run.
What did we bring to our salvation? I'll tell you what we brought. Nothing. Okay? So what can I bring to my mother and father's salvation? Nothing. Other than not getting in the way.
Right.
People are going to be annoyed about this, I get it. People are going to be like, what's he talking about? I'm talking about salvation belongs to the Lord. Yeah. Son or daughter, it's okay to chill your beans.
right.
God's going to do what he said he was going to do. Do you know?
Yeah. You got to stand on that, though. You
got to stand on that. Yeah. And so I'm out in America. I feel dreadful. I'm like, 10 years I was gone from Ireland, 9 years. And I had left my family behind. And I remember praying, going, God, how? All these thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that I get to witness to about Jesus, and the people I love the most, I've abandoned. And then one day in Nashville, Tennessee, I get a call from my daddy on the phone saying, Darren, me and your mother, we went to the little tent mission that our church puts on in Monaghan. And he said, we've been praying about it for a couple of weeks, and we decided that we wanted to give our lives over to Jesus.
Wow.
And what did I have to do with it? Nothing.
I mean,
nothing much. I would say my little brother was much more faithful in doing the hard, ordinary work in the local church, as was my sister. I'm not belittling what we do. I know what we do has left a massive impact on a great many people's lives. And I'm so honoured by that. But the gospel thrives with ordinary people doing ordinary things for an extraordinary God. It is not the American dream. The gospel is not the American dream, or the Irish dream, or the Western dream.
Right.
The gospel is Jesus' plan for redemption of his people, to be holy and sanctified and made clean.
Yeah.
And do you think that we can get in his way? We cannot. The gospel will advance with or without us.
Right.
And the great goodness in all of this is that somehow donkeys like me, right? And kind men like you.
No, I don't know about that.
But you have a kindness on me. You do. We get to take part in what he's doing. I don't know.
They say I guess you just got to get in line. You just got to. He's going to do it without you. Or
he's going to do it without you.
Yeah.
So do you want to be a part of it?
Yeah.
Dude, look at that. There's Holy Spirit. Do you want to be a part of it?
Yeah.
Because he's doing it anyway. And I want to be a part of it.
Yeah. That's great.
But also, I don't want to be just a part of it here, when there's an interview or on stage, when there's, hundreds or thousands of people clapping. I want to be a part of it on every third Saturday in our community when my little brother's heading up evangelism and we're handing out tea and coffee and talking to people about Jesus. And no one cares that I'm Darren from We Are Messengers.
Yeah.
And I would put it to our industry, we would all do well to stop believing our own hype.
Right.
And to
humble ourselves and just
serve the local church.
Right. Yeah.
If we don't serve the local church, how dare we stand on stages and have light shine on us?
Yeah.
And if we don't talk to people in coffee shops who approach us or whatever, or hang out with catering staff or security guys or truck drivers. How dare we stand on stage? And if our hearts are filled with resentment and anger, how dare we stand on stage and pretend they're filled with kindness and love?
Right.
Now, in the last 10 years, I have been all those things, right? But in the last 3 or 4 years, I have been none of those things. What a miracle, dude.
Yeah.
Do you know how rare it is for God to allow a man like me to go as far as I have gone, and for him to continue to strive with me? I don't take that for granted.
No, that's just something you have to just sit back and go, wow. Like this,
Wow.
That is bigger than you. You know?
Dude.
Yes. Yeah.
Every time I turn my back on him, I'm asking him to re-sacrifice. I'm not going to, give me another crucifixion, Jesus. What are you going to do for me? When it was completely finished, on Calvary, he took all my shame, all my iniquity. You know, he took all the damage I've ever done or would do or will do. And I have learned that I don't want to keep asking him to put things right for me, but he's so good that he continues to do that.
Right.
But how much sweeter to know, you know what, today I did all right, Jesus, with you. I said yes to what you wanted me to say yes to. I said no to the things I should have said no to. I'm in a sweet place. My joy belongs to no man or woman or industry or band. My joy is found in Jesus. Joy is a strange thing.
Yeah.
You wake up one morning, it'll be sitting at the edge of your bed, and then you just got to put it on, like a winter coat.
That was one of the things I was going to talk to you about, just because there is such a sense of joy. I was going to actually practically, and you're already kind of going there, but practically, like, how do you slip on that joy in the morning when it seems impossible sometimes?
Yeah,
you led right into it. So.
I think it's a consistency in reading the scriptures. I think it's biblical literacy, understanding Jesus as he truly is, not as he's been portrayed to be or as you would want him to be. Right? So getting to know a real Jesus is the core of it. Rhythms of praying, as in talking with him, realizing that he's fond of me and that when I have sinned grossly, he doesn't want to keep me away, he wants to pull me in. And doing kind things and good things for other people when no one's watching. Dude, I get such a buzz out of just doing things that people will never see, because I'm like, oh, cool, that's what Jesus is.
Yeah.
I walked down along the river in Little Rock yesterday, and I was really jet lagged, so I was up wild early before the city got up. And just walking along, so many homeless geezers. And there was one homeless man, and the sun was rising, and he was putting on a nice shirt, and you know, he looked like he was making an effort to show up for his life.
Yeah.
And it wasn't much, dude. It was just, I was just walking past, and I was just like, hey brother, you keep going, you're doing great. And it sounds so stupid, but that was the highlight of my day.
Wow.
Because he looked at me and smiled.
Yeah. It's the one, it's those people. It's
those people.
Yeah.
It'll be the same tonight at the show.
Wow.
There'll be someone tonight. My voice is wrecked. Dude, these people are in for a horror show of a vocal performance.
Oh, no.
But what they're not going to do is leave here under any impression that we are here to use them for our petty ego trips. They're going to know that they are the special ones here tonight. They're going to know that from the minute this thing starts. And that culture has taken 10 years to develop and fight for and stand on. And we've had our fair share of ridicule. People mock us and call us things. And
it's always going to be one, you know.
And, dude, I'm so fine with it.
Yeah, right.
These days, I just don't care.
You know you're doing a good job then.
Yeah. We have a lot of great people around us.
Yeah.
A lot of great people. And I've had a lot of people forgive me.
Yeah.
I love my life. I love my life. And I'm 45 years old, and I just learned how to love it.
Wow.
Praise God.
That's awesome. Well, the final thing I want to ask you really fast is just, you get to tour the world, and our show is broadcast around the world. You know, we're on 1,100 radio stations kind of worldwide, and so what is God doing in other parts? Like, we see it here in the United States. We know that there's a move of God. We definitely see that. We see it in our youth. We see it just all around us. But you get this rare opportunity to go see this in other countries. So what are you seeing God doing around the globe?
The exact same thing he's doing here. Like, God is doing the same thing in the youth in Australia, and in the middle-aged people in Australia, and the elderly people in Australia, and New Zealand, and Europe, and wherever it may be, as he is in America. He's asked us to write music for messy, broken people so that they might know there is a place at the table with Jesus for them. The reason I know how to say that, just like that, is I was talking to someone today. We should be able to define what our ministry is, what our calling is, in a sentence. If you can't do that, you're not sure what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we do. We write music for messy, broken people. What's Jesus doing in the world? He's using messy, broken people like me to share the good news of Jesus so that those messy, broken people might come to the realization that they are deeply loved and there is a place for them so that they might go and tell others that there is a place for them at the table.
Yeah.
And that is how the gospel has advanced since Peter and Paul. And it's how it's still advancing. And we overcomplicate it. Dude, the gospel is thriving in secular societies right now. I say that's the difference from America. America still, on the surface, appears to be what you would call a Christian nation.
Right.
It's very debatable what that is. We have to be careful that's not a cultural version of a Christian faith, right? But in the places where the darkness seems to be the most dark, dude, the light is shining bright.
Right.
You come to my wee town, and you just see it. People are starting to come to our church, and it might only be one or two, every week. But they're coming and they're saying things like, I heard this is somewhere I could come to get help.
Wow.
Do you remember when the church used to be like that? That it was somewhere you could come to get help.
Yeah.
Not somewhere you could come to hear all the things you want to hear so you can leave exactly the same way you came in.
No. Yeah.
And I see it in America too. There are teachers and pastors and prophets and evangelists rising up that are so in love with the scriptures and the true person of Jesus that they are unafraid. And it's all across the world it's happening. He is tearing apart the things that many of us hold dear because we are doing them without him.
Wow, yeah.
There's a shaking. There's a shaking happening.
The pruning, shaking, you call it what you will.
And it's happening in every area, in poetry, in music, in teaching, in literature, in podcasting. Jesus is pruning. The gardener's out. He's been let loose, right? So we have to be very careful that our source is him, the vine, that we're in. How much have we done that had so little to do with Jesus?
Right.
How much of our planning and our strategies and our programming and our songwriting and our lyrics and our concerts have so little to do with Jesus?
Yeah.
And I ain't asking for some holy Joe, we all got our hands in the air doing the thing. I'm not talking about that.
No, yeah.
I'm talking about the simple things that you do. Are they because you love him and you love his people? And I would put it to you and all my friends, listening or watching. If you do something because you think you have to, even though you know he's not in it, stop doing it.
Just don't.
Just don't do it.
Do it.
Dude, music, right? I'll give you something. Music. I've never had a backup plan. I'm not your average Joe Schmo in many ways. I have abilities, right?
Yeah.
I sound like Liam Neeson. I'm not that kind of ability. Although I'm handy enough. But that's not the point.
You can do it.
There are many things I could do. I could have used all of the time and success and money that we have garnered from doing what we do and put it into like a bunch of investment properties and like made my little kingdom. Dude, I've still got like a junior saver account in my bank. I don't care.
Yeah.
This is what God asked me to do.
This is it.
I'm all in on this. And when he tells me to stop, I'm out.
He'll have something else though.
He will.
Yeah.
You're going to find me singing songs to Jesus down by the wee stream at the side of my house when no one's watching. I do that anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm just privileged. I'm really thankful that I've got to see this part of my life. That I've got to cross into the promised land as a free man, because he could have left me standing on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
And my goal in these next few years is to help other artists cross over to the promised land, where you don't have to strive and claw and be envious. It's exhausting. It's sweet over here.
Yeah.
The grapes are fat. The fruit is much. And the laughter is genuine.
Yes.
So yeah, that's it, you know.
That's great. That's so encouraging. Thanks
Good
so
luck.
much for spending time with us.
Good luck
Yeah.
editing all of that.